Something to keep in mind is that we have the founder of Wikipedia next. Namely, we have Larry Sanger, all the way from Wikipedia, talking to us here about decentralization, about cryptocurrencies, and how information should be stored and handled and shared in this new era of decentralization. That being said, do we have Larry ready? Please, everyone, give a huge round of applause for Larry Sanger.
Hi, thanks for having me here in Stockholm. It's my first time here, and it's been an interesting time getting here, with long layovers and flights delayed due to weather. I get here and the weather is beautiful, the city is beautiful, so that was nice. So, my name is Larry Sanger. I am co-founder of Wikipedia, and I am now Chief Information Officer of Everipedia. And I'd like to explain why I've got involved. One thing that people, when I tell people that I'm co-founder of Wikipedia, one thing that they say is, oh, well, how are things going there, as if I were still working there. Well, I actually separated myself permanently from Wikipedia in 2003. And I've worked on a lot of other educational and reference projects since then. So let me give you some background to sort of explain, because I choose my projects pretty carefully. So I'd like to explain why I've got involved in this one. So I come from a completely different background from a lot of people who are in this space. I'm not a technologist. I don't have a degree in business. I'm not a lawyer, anything like that. I have a PhD in philosophy. And my specialization was epistemology, the theory of knowledge. And I was actually hired on as an editor-in-chief for the predecessor of Wikipedia, and then while working on that, had the idea for Wikipedia, and it developed from there. One thing that I've learned as an academic is that knowledge is hard, not easy. People today find it so easy to get quick answers that they forget that the answers that they receive might not actually be reliable. And 20 years ago, it might have been the case that what we needed were just bulk of information on everything. That's no longer the case. We've got an embarrassment of riches, as they say. We've taken care of the quantity problem, and now, in my opinion, the problem that we need to solve is the quality problem. So this is why I say, again, speaking as the co-founder of Wikipedia, I think we can do better. When I think about Wikipedia, I don't think of it as this incredibly useful project. Well, it is, of course. But I think of a project that can be improved on. I think of all of the things that we could have done differently. Wikipedia is huge, and it is useful. But I think we can do better. And perhaps the biggest problem that's overlooked, is easy to overlook, actually, is that there should be millions of regular contributors, not 10,000 or 12,000. That's enough to keep it going. But what would it be like if the percentage of people who are participating in it were like 1%, as opposed to 1,000th of 1%, which is something about, when you're talking about the really active contributors. So I think the biggest problem, the reason why there aren't more contributors. It's simply that it's a single community, and no one community is going to appeal to everyone. It's kind of insular and weird, so it puts off a lot of people. It's not for everyone. And there's other problems, as we will see. So Evropedia started in 2015 as a reaction to some of the problems with Wikipedia. A pair of students from University of California, Los Angeles were soon joined by a couple of other local entrepreneurs. And they had the notion that what the world needs is a more modern fork of Wikipedia. I actually started talking to them a couple of months after they got started. And so let me explain how Evropedia differs from Wikipedia. So Evropedia is the encyclopedia of everything. That's the original tagline. And in order to demonstrate the idea that it really is open to everything, I made an article about my left thumb and asked the co-founders if this is acceptable, and they said it was. So I guess it really is open to everything. And that changes the nature of the project, right? It's not quite so straight-laced. You can have an article about yourself. You can have an article about your business. Obviously, if you're the only person who has worked on a page, then it won't be taken quite as seriously as one that has been worked on by many other people. But that's okay. There's also important design differences with Wikipedia. So it has a more modern design. It looks better on your phone. And if you want to contribute to Wikipedia, you have to learn MediaWiki markup. So it almost looks like code to somebody who is not into programming. So on Evropedia, it's what you see is what you get. What you type is how it looks to the end user. So it's a lot easier to contribute to. So I'm going to come back to this, but at about the same time that I first started talking to them, I had an idea that I was very excited about. I called it Greater Wiki, and I was looking for people to work on it with me. So I went to the offices of Evropedia a couple of years ago, and we talked about this idea, and they talked about Evropedia, and I helped them out a little bit. And I was really impressed, actually, at the traction that they were already getting. And since then, they've gotten even more traction. It's a top 1,000 site in the US. It's got 3 million unique monthly users, 200,000 returning monthly users, 6 million wiki articles. That's the original 5 million borrowed from Wikipedia. It's a fork of Wikipedia, plus another million that they've added on top of that. 17,000 contributor accounts, quite a few active accounts as well. And since I joined, the team has raised $30 million in VC funding from Galaxy Digital's EOS.io ecosystem fund, led by Mike Novogratz. So as impressed as I was with the traction, that really wasn't enough to get me involved initially. But then the president of Evropedia, Sam Kazmian, called me up and said, "We're thinking of moving Evropedia to the blockchain. Do you know what that means?" And I said, "Well, kind of." I knew it was something that I should know more about. And that started me down the road, and I've been studying quite a bit about blockchain ever since. And one thing that was very clear to me, that it was practically tailor-made for the idea that I was so excited to execute, in which I will explain in a little bit. So I joined them because they were absolutely committed to executing on that idea. And I was very excited about the basic idea of tokenizing encyclopedia writing behavior. That could really be what the world needs to get a lot more people involved in working on an encyclopedia. So let me explain about the development of the Evropedia blockchain. So we're calling it the Evropedia network. And initially, the way that IQ tokens, as they will be called, will be mined or unlocked is you'll simply write an article, submit it to the system, and if it's accepted, then you are awarded with some IQ. The more IQ you have, the greater your incentive to keep the quality of articles on the network high, and also it gives you the authority to vote in the different governance decisions about the network. So, actually, let me talk a little bit more about phase one here. If you go to GitHub, actually, just go to Google, search Evropedia GitHub white paper, and you'll find our white paper. And as you'll learn there are 3 modules that make up the Evropedia blockchain under development. There's the financial or token module, the governance module, and an article module. And the idea is that the article module is going to contain pointers to the articles. The governance module is what enables people who are contributing from lots of different points, different actual encyclopedia publishers that we've been talking to, will be getting together and using this same interface. Obviously, that needs governance and rules that are defined in terms of smart contracts. And then, of course, the token module. So it's going to be hosted on EOS. And EOS, as you probably know, is going to be launching in June. And it is also, the articles themselves aren't going to be on the blockchain. They will be part of IPFS, the Interplanetary File System. And that means that all of the world's knowledge then is going to be scattered about in many copies via nodes all around the world and individuals' computers, which hold pieces of files, and the whole network of those computers is IPFS. This means that it's extremely difficult, it will be extremely difficult to censor the world's knowledge. And this is going to happen for the first time. This has never happened before, right? So that's very exciting to us. We're going to be doing an airdrop on June 17th. So that means that if you hold EOS off exchange, and actually we're not quite ready to do an announcement, but I'll just tell you now, on many exchanges this will also be honored. To be on the safe side, if you hold EOS off exchange, you will find yourself with some IQ tokens in your wallet June 17 or so. So there's 500,000 EOS holders now, approximately. The number is probably going to go up. And that means that there's going to be about 500,000 people who are co-owners of 51% of the Evropedia network. So when we launch, we are going to be launching with, when I say we, in this case, I mean the principals of the company, with a minority stake, which is exactly how it should be, isn't it? So, right. In phase 2, this is the part that I get excited about. And phase 1 is very exciting. Potentially it has all kinds of great effects. In phase 2, though, what we're going to do is enable not just Everipedia, but a lot of different encyclopedias to work together to contribute to the same resource. In principle, that should be possible even in June, but there's a lot that really needs to be done before, say, Britannica or academic reference publishers and so forth will be able to use this. But our full intention is to allow them to upload articles or at least metadata about articles. And now I'm going to get to the part about Greater Wiki. So the Greater Wiki idea was this. What we need to do is aggregate all of the encyclopedia articles in the world, or at least pointers to them, and make it possible for all of those articles to be rated. There has never been a global rating project for the world's encyclopedia articles. Pretty sure of that. If it existed, I would know it. I've never heard of it. And I think it's the kind of thing where if you build it, people really will come if it works. And we've got some great people working on this. And the effects, I think, will be stunning. Because for the first time, you'll be able to go to a page about some extremely controversial topic, say jihad, right? And there will be a dozen encyclopedia articles. Anyone will be able to contribute new encyclopedia articles about jihad to the same competition. They will be available to be rated, and then they'll be ranked by different apps that make use of the data. Everipedia will be the first, but you will be able to write an app with the same data and rank them however you want based on the ratings, or just however you want, right? And the idea is that the best will rise to the top. There will be an actual knowledge competition. And that's only part of the idea. What if we allow people to identify themselves uniquely on the network? We have an authentication system. So Block 1 is actually developing an authentication system, a login system, essentially, for the EOS blockchain. When that goes online, then we're going to make use of it and allow people to record information which other people can vouch for about what their qualifications are, if they're male or female, if they're, what their nationality is, their political party, their religion, and so forth. And then you can use those categories to rank and re-rank the articles by weighting the ratings. You see? So say you go to the jihad page, you would, if you just look at the aggregate data, everybody together, the order might look one way. And then if you rank the articles according to traditional Muslims' views, then obviously it's going to look different. Or if it's liberal Muslims, it'll be different still, and so forth, with all kinds of relevant political categories. In this way, what will be possible then is to get the best possible idea of what is known on a topic according to different competing points of view. You'll be able to compare side by side lots of different points of view on every topic under the sun. And because it's a neutral protocol, it's a technical protocol that lives on the internet and is not intermediated by a secret cabal of editors or whatever. Basically, what that means is that people will actually be motivated, I think, to use this thing. So, I think the network will grow for some of the reasons that I've already gone over. We're going to have participation from many different published sources. And this is going to be the first project to rate Wikipedia articles. This is something that I've been asking for since 2002. And nobody has ever bothered to build it. Why the hell not? I mean, it's so easy. And it would be so beneficial to the world, and yet nobody has actually built it. This will be the first time that's done. And it will be possible to compare Wikipedia directly, using ratings, to other encyclopedias. And it will be possible for people to leapfrog ahead of the Wikipedia and the Britannica and all the other articles, if you can write a better article that is higher rated than the ones that are there. So I think these are all reasons to think that it's going to get a lot of traction when we get to phase 2, which probably won't happen until next year. This is not something that's launching in June. I want to make that very clear. Another thing that I think will motivate a lot of people in academia and professional circles is that it will be an incredible career perk if your article is honored as the top article according to your peers, right? That would be pretty huge. And I think that will motivate people to get involved into and contribute. And in addition to all of that, there's the bare fact that it's on the blockchain and your behavior is tokenized. In other words, if you write an article, you actually are compensated. You're mining, creating wealth for yourself. You're unlocking the value, is a better way to put it. So I think the articles also will ultimately be better. This is one of the questions that people ask a lot. They ask, well, gee, if this is really open, and one of the things that I want to insist about the Everpedia network is that the bar for entry has to be kept low, because if there's a high bar of entry for articles to be included, that means there's going to have to be stringent rules, and that means a sort of political battle, and that is ultimately it's going to become it's going to be centralized. Right? So giving ownership over articles will incentivize keeping the article quality high. And you'll be able to make, you'll have to stake a small amount of tokens in order for an edit to get in, to be included. So if you want to contribute an article, then you will have to stake maybe 1 IQ token, and then you'll get it back if it's accepted. And if not, you lose it, which makes the cost of spamming the network high. But there's other reasons to think that the quality will be high. I've already explained how head-to-head competition to have the best rated article about each topic and from each point of view will result in higher quality. I also think that people will be motivated to fill in the gaps, which is something that people are not really motivated to do right now in the Wikipedia model. On specialized topics. In Wikipedia, if you're a specialist in anything and you look except on a few topics, perhaps, there's a lot of gaps. The Wikipedia has, if it has 6 million articles right now, it probably has room for several orders of magnitude more articles, especially if you cover all the proper nouns in the world, which is what Everpedia wants to do. That means articles about each of you if you want them. So I invite you to imagine the view from 2028. There would be multiple articles on many topics at least, probably on millions of topics. On important topics, I think the best rated articles will be brilliantly written. That's going to make a huge difference, actually, that there's not just one article that everybody is expected to collaborate on if they want to work on the most trafficked article online on a topic. Instead, there will be a competition to exceed whatever is in the top place in every respect, and that would include in writing quality. And you'll be able to compare what is known, or at least believed, from many points of view on every topic under the sun, practically, at least the important ones. And that's going to change the world. And if we don't build it, then someone else will. Because the idea is out there now, and the technology is out there. So that is why I am proud to join this fine team of, 15 full-time people. These are some of the executives and advisors. So I hope you will come to everpedia.org, have a look, sign up. I'll actually give you a hint. If you want to register right now, you don't go to the register page, you go to the contact page, because that's the procedure until after the airdrop in June. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Larry.